Hi, my name is Parker from Carlsen Associates. Today I'll be walking you through a basic service on our Ozone machine. So we'll start by removing this cover right here. There's two Phillips screws on the bottom, so we'll use a Phillips screwdriver. Come down here and just take these guys off. One, and on this side. There, this guy can come off. We'll just set this aside along with the two screws. So we'll go ahead and while we have the Phillips and remove these two screws on the side right here. There's one over here and one on the same spot on the other side. Go ahead and set that over there. And once you got that off, we can go ahead and remove the destruct chamber here. There's a little triclover fitting on the bottom. We'll just take this guy off. And make sure to hold on to this while you do that. Take that off, and then you can set this aside. Make sure you follow lockout tagout procedures. Lockout tagout is imperative to make sure the equipment is off and safe to work on. From there, we'll grab an impact with a 7/16, and there's two on each side. That one, the bottom one. Set these guys aside. And then grab it from the sides right here. And pull back and up. Set that aside. So from here you have access to the back. You got the compressor back here, you got the pump back here. For basic service, we'll just go ahead and change the inlet filter on the left side of the unit here. We'll grab a new one and some Teflon tape, and just put a couple wraps of Teflon tape around it. So we'll go ahead and use a 9/16 to take this guy off and put the new one on. Let's loosen this guy up, unthread it. You can just throw that old one away and put a new one on. You want to make sure that there's no extra Teflon in there that could get sucked up in the compressor, so clean that out a little bit before you put the new one on. We'll go ahead and tighten the new one on. It doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough to make that seal. Right there is good. And then from there, you're done on the back half. Rotate it back around. And then now we're gonna open the cover. Open this guy up, just like that. You wanna make sure that that latches. And then from there, there's a stainless steel check valve on the bottom here, going to the Maze injector. So we're gonna loosen this guy, take this guy off. This will give us access to the stainless steel check valve, which we're going to check, and then also replace the Maze rebuild kit, which will be supplied. This guy just unthreads. That guy comes off. There's your stainless steel check valve. So when you take the check valve off, make sure you watch for the ball and spring, and also that rubber disc to make sure that they don't fall out and you don't lose track of them on the ground. We'll set that aside for now. Next thing, we're gonna grab a pick. Come down here, and if you look in here, you'll see there's a little rubber bushing in there. There's a ball and a spring. That's the Maze rebuild kit that we send in the basic service. Grab a pick, and we'll just come under here and come down here. We'll put the pick in the hole and just turn it sideways and pull it out. You'll see you get this piece right here. The ball just fell to the ground, and there's a little spring in there, so you can take the pick and just grab that spring. And once you have it out, you can just throw it away. So we'll send the kit. It's a little tiny guy in a little plastic bag. It comes with the seat, the ball, and the spring as well. We'll just go ahead and grab a razor, just open that up, and then get all the pieces out. We're just gonna do the same thing, put it back together the same way it came out. So the spring will go first. So we'll come back down here. Okay, so we'll put the spring in. Again, we wanna make sure it's straight. There's an example of it straight. See how it's flush in there? If it's not straight, grab the pick again, pull it out. If it's not straight, it'll be like hanging out. It's like that, see how it's hanging out, it's not flush in there. You wanna grab that and just make sure it's straight like that. It'll be recessed in there, you can't really grab it with your finger. And from there, you wanna make sure that the ball is sitting in the seat, just like so. And so once you have it like that, you go ahead and push the ball into the spring, and you just push the seat into the injector and you'll feel it click. And from there you can take your pick and you'll see the ball through the hole, and you want to just push on the ball to make sure that spring's in there correctly and it comes right back to against the seat. And then from there you're done right there. From there the next thing we'll be working on is the check valve. So what we'll do is, this is a one-way check valve. You'll see an arrow on the front of it right here. So in this case, coming from the machine, ozone is going through this and straight out, and that's going into the ejector where it's injected into the water stream. We want to make sure that water can't get back up. Like I said, these components here are really expensive and really crucial to the machine, and if those are wiped out, you won't get any ozone and you'll need to replace those as soon as possible. So we're going to make sure that this is only allowing ozone gas to flow out and water not to go back up. So what we'll do is we'll clean it out. So we'll go to the sink and run some water through it, make sure the water going through it's all nice and clean. We'll try to run it backwards through it, make sure water can't get back. And then we'll take some compressed air and push the water that's in it out, and we'll try to push it backwards to see if we get any backwards flow. So we'll take this in and hold it up here. It doesn't have to be a lot of pressure, but just hold it tight and you'll see water come out. And this water's, it's nice and clean. Sometimes it'll be like green or yellow coming out of it, and you want to get all that out until it's clean, nice and clear. And from there, you're good there. You can run a little bit backwards to see if it'll flow. If it's really shot, then it'll come out the bottom here. But in this case, it looks pretty good. So now, get all the extra out. Take some compressed air, and again, we're going to want to get all the extra, or all the water that we just ran through it out. So again, it's one way, so it's going to go that way. So we'll take this guy, put it up to here, and just push some water out so you can't see anything else. And then from there, we'll try to go backwards. So like I said, it's one way. If you get air coming out the top right here, that's what would be going into the machine. You're going to want to replace this check valve right here. So that little one that we replaced is good for like a secondary, but this is the most important check valve in the machine. Okay, so now that the check valve has been gone through and cleaned and checked to ensure it's working properly, we'll go ahead and put this guy back on. This guy goes right over where we took that check valve, the little rebuild one that we did before. This thing goes right over the top, and we just come right back down here, just thread it on. And you just want to go till it's snug. These are plastic fittings, so you want to make sure you don't want to over tighten them. You don't want to strip them. So it's just nice and snug right to about there, just so it lines up with the hole going back or coming from the machine. You thread that guy back on with your 9/16. Grab your wrench, and again, just snug on this. And no need to go super tight. Just like that. And then from there, we're going to check the regulator. So the regulator's right up front right here. In this case, this is a newer machine, so it's got a non-adjustable regulator. The older machines have an adjustable regulator that we would recommend just leaving them where they're at. Usually they go all the way in, but we will service the regulator bowl. So in this case, we want to start by unthreading this. These are super easy to break. I can't tell you how many I've broken to these. These guys just snap off these little plastic pieces, so we'll go ahead and eliminate that. So we'll go ahead and set that aside. From there you can turn it, make it easier, and then just unthread it. And the whole bowl assembly comes off. Clear bowl as well, just like that, these two pieces. And then you can check the filter here. So this one's got a brass filter. We don't change the brass filters here, we just make sure they're clean. This guy's good to go. If you have a paper filter, paper filters, just you swap them out if it's dirty. If it's clean, there's no need. So now that this is clean, you go ahead and reassemble this. It's right back together. Again, just snug. You go ahead and push that back down to where it's straight. And from here, this guy goes, there's a hole in the bottom of the machine here that goes through, and then this can go right back into the bottom of the regulator bowl. And with this guy, you want to go all the way in until it stops, and then back out 2 turns. 1 and 2. What that does, that allows the regulator bowl to drain. A lot of people think that if there's water coming out of here, that's a bad thing, but that's a really good thing. You don't want water building up in here, because as soon as water builds up in here, there's nowhere else for the water to go except for the concentrator. The concentrator is made up of mostly a clay material, and as soon as water gets in there, it just solidifies and you won't get any oxygen out of it. And oxygen is crucial for the production of ozone. All right, from there we can go ahead and close this. Just lift up and push this latch forward and lower that guy down. We can take our back cover and put the back cover back on. So we'll grab this guy, go right over the top. Just like that. And then you want to make sure it doesn't fall off the back, so put a little pressure on it. And then grab your bolts and thread your bolts back in. And over to the other side. And then from there, grab the impact and just tighten them down. Doesn't have to be super tight, just enough to hold it on. And the same thing for the other side. Just like that. Put the destruct chamber back on. You'll see on one of the flanges it'll say inlet right here. The other side won't say anything. And we go ahead and take this guy. The inlet goes to the outlet side of the ozone machine. Put your gasket on and grab your clamp. Come down here. Go ahead and put your clamp on, just like that. Tighten your clamp. Make sure this guy's straight. Just like that. And then from there, your Phillips. So you put the sides in. And do this one on this side. Put your sides in right here. Just like that. Same thing for the other side. And then your little cover. Get your Phillips screws. Sometimes if it's not lining up, you got to move the destruct chamber, and then you'll feel it line up. And the same thing for the other side. Just like that. And then you can take this guy off right here. And from here, we'll check the cardiolite in the destruct chamber itself. So in here, there's a bag with cardiolite, which is it's like a carbon material that takes the off gas of the ozone off. That way, if you're running this in a cellar or something, you don't get any ozone off gas that you'll smell and wipe you out. We'll take this, and the best way we found to get this out is to hit it on like a flat surface. So we have a nice rubberized bench here. We'll take and we'll just do this until you can grab that PVC pipe right here. Pull that guy out, and from there you can grab the stainless grate and then the bag of cardiolite itself. So you'll know you want to replace this if it's soaking wet. If it's soaking wet, then you obviously want to replace it. If the bag's falling apart, then you want to replace it. But if it's not, if it's still in good shape like this guy, we'll just go ahead and put it back in. Back in. And then the grate. And then the piece of PVC. And then you want to find something long. I just use the end of a hammer here and just knock it down in place. until it's tight up against the grate. And from there, you can set that aside. It's also a good opportunity to take some compressed air and blow the breather hose out of here. There's a little hole right here on the side of the destruct chamber. And with that over time, if you have a bag in a Cardiolite bag that broke, and Cardiolite can fall in there and clog that, and you won't get any of the water that builds up in here, it won't vent out. So what can happen is water can build up in here and come out the top of the vents on the destruct chamber right here. And if you have water coming out of here, that means that is plugged. So while you're servicing that, it's a good idea to take some compressed air and blow through. So let me grab my compressed air. So we'll take this guy right here, just push on that and blow through. And that went straight through. You can see the water come out the bottom. And just like that, you can go ahead and put the gasket on. And this guy. And your clamp. And just like that, here's the machine's good to go. So we have all these parts in stock at Carlsen Associates. So if you need to order some parts, give us a call. Direct to us is 707-431-2000. And we'll be happy to answer any questions you have and get some parts headed your way. Thank you.